Now, when I look at Obama's numbers compared to other presidential candidates, they are pretty impressive. But when I look at them compared to a vision of what I might abstractly want to hope for, I'd say, you know, there's a way to go. Also, if I start looking at other races, if I ask the question, is this going to replicate? How is it going to replicate? If it replicates, will it be among some opportunistic candidates or more generally? I would just say that the statement about there's a way to go applies substantially more to other races, where we saw Obama up at 26% of his money raised by donors who accumulate to $200 or less. You're seeing House candidates, or incumbents are at 6%. The average House candidate is at 8%. For Senate candidates, who are more generally known than House candidates, it's 15%, but it's 10% for the incumbents. The money from the congressional races is overwhelmingly from the $1,000 and up or political action committees. In addition, if you want to think about this from a public policy point of view, you have to look at the fact that getting small donors requires visibility. It requires you to have a campaign that's already caught on, or it requires, so it's not as if anybody, started off simply with small donors. I mean, although Dean did it earlier than others in '04. This table arrays the candidates over the course of the months, and you can see that for the first 3 months, even Obama, I say even because the others' numbers are, the other candidates' numbers are even lower, is raising most of his money from large donors at the beginning, first 3 months. That's when he established himself as the alternative, he and Edwards as the alternative to Clinton. And it was only then that the internet really started to pick up. And for Clinton, the numbers lower. And this is true of a candidate after candidate. The paper gives all the candidates. It's you start with the large contributions and then you build. So when you think about public policy, you have to think about the question of how do candidates reach a point of launching? As Laura mentioned, this paper is available. These data plus much more are available in the paper or on our website, www.campaignfinanceinstitute.org. The House and Senate numbers are not in the paper. If you want them, just email me or leave me your card. I'll be happy to send them to you. Okay, with the data now in front of you, let's now turn to the final section of the talk. If we do not believe the Obama phenomenon is automatically and easily replicated, and I don't, then are there some effective ways for public policy to help promote participation? And if so, is this a proper use of public support or public money? On the last question first, is it appropriate to use public money to help support public participation? I can't see a single good reason why not. It's perfectly appropriate to use taxpayers' money to foster and extend the participation of citizens in self-government, as long as it doesn't discriminate among citizens or candidates. And by participation, I do not just mean voting, where we obviously do use public resources. I'm talking about citizen participation beyond voting, including citizens giving small amounts of money to foster candidates of their choice, and et cetera. If liberty or self-government are the ends, then policies that promote participation in self-government are fully appropriate as means toward that end, or those ends. Having said that, we have to be careful about not confusing the means with the ends. Public financing is only a means. It is not the only means to support participation. There are others, for example, involving communications policy and technology policy, and the various means are not mutually exclusive. Having said that, and in addition, so it's not, these things are not ends in themselves. Having said that, I support a number of forms of public financing. Whether they're grants, matching funds, tax credits, rebates, or vouchers, I support them when the system is designed carefully to structure and foster the end of participation, but not when they're there to shoehorn in other policies that defeat those very goals. For example, I have problems with public funding as an excuse for hard and fast spending limits. Spending limits that are low enough to make a difference will drive candidates away, and that makes it impossible to use the system to alter the incentives for candidates to engage citizens. More importantly, they stifle citizen participation at the end of a campaign, when public attention is at its peak, when it ought to be encouraged and not discouraged. Interestingly, the Congressional Public Financing Bill previously discussed, as well as a presidential public financing bill likely to be introduced soon by Senator Feingold, each in broad outline follows the approach I am talking about. Each would do away with the hard spending caps that have been such a problem in current law. After 35 years, this is a huge shift in paradigm. Each would also follow New York City's successful example by using multiple matching funds, at least in part, to multiply the value of small contributions. I'm sure you'll hear more about both of these ideas today, so I don't need to go into the details. I want to be clear, I'm not making a pitch for any specific bill, and there are plenty of questions we will have to ask about the details as we read them. But this is a pitch for a general thrust or approach. It is about structuring the law to encourage behavior we like and not simply to prohibit what we don't like. Our country has a truly great system of government, but we need to develop the public tools so that others may join in.